The National Hockey League just dropped a bombshell yesterday when it comes to NHL esports and events in the near future. I'm going to try and keep this as short as I can, but a message was sent in the NHL 24 World Championship Discord by a rival admin on behalf of the NHL, which stated this. This is pretty big and basically confirms there will not be any bigger 1v1 tournaments run through Rival this year, if any at all, which is a huge deal for the player base on Hockey Ultimate Team and 1v1 in general. However, if you were holding any stock in 6v6, congratulations, it just got sent to the moon. Now, 6v6 never had tournaments related to the World Championship or GWC or whatever, so I don't know if we see many changes there, but if you're mainly an eShow player, I would just be praying the gameplay is better than it was this year. Anyway, if you guys watched my video a couple months ago, I stated that a lot of the cycle of players playing Hockey Ultimate Team stemmed through the World Championship when it was introduced during NHL 18, almost 7 years ago. They would rip packs to try and get the best teams to compete for the big tournament, which had prize pools of over $100,000 sometimes. Now, without the tournament, to a good amount of competitive players, HUT seems kind of a waste to try and grind, which could hurt the player base and cause NHL to die even quicker than usual. Now, this probably won't directly affect the casuals, but it could definitely spiral into something worse for the game mode in general that nobody wants, such as just being stale. Really quick before I talk about what EA could do to maybe help the player base, I don't think we can really blame the NHL. Ever since the NHL introduced bigger esports tournaments, it's slowly declined over the years. The venues and events just kept getting smaller and smaller. It started out at the HyperX Arena in Vegas to this. So you could see how maybe it was a good decision to, maybe take a year off and sort of reevaluate. Interest in the actual tournament also declined. If you look at the viewership for GWC, it actually seemed pretty good on paper, but I'm basically 95% sure they straight up view botted and put the stream on different websites to keep static viewership from those sites, which I can't really blame them for. Now, I think EA could have some saving grace. Hard to trust them as of recent, but they could potentially save this. And hopefully this is something that they already know about. And yes, I know a lower percent of the player base of NHL actually plays HUT, but you gotta remember, this is EA's moneymaker at the end of the day. Now, what do I think they should do to save Hockey Ultimate Team? No matter how good or bad the gameplay truly is, although that is a factor, HUT needs more engaging game modes and events. I think competitive players, especially now, should have an outlet to play as such as well. I think this should be done with things like competitive seasons. Please, EA bro. If you bring back anything ever from any NHL game, just make it be comp seasons, please, especially with this news. But either way, comp seasons, better rewards for those comp seasons and HUT champs. Maybe bring back a draft champion sort of thing with comp seasons to draft a team to use for 20 games or something like that. I know there's HUT Rush, but freaking, oh yeah, I love HUT Rush. And if you're going to put competitive seasons back in, put it along with the events to earn special players and items, especially if you get into the top 100 or even complete all your games. Maybe make there be a limit for certain events to overalls or some sort of salary cap system to keep it fresh. They just did something similar at the end of the year with base icons, which, yeah, that's good, EA. About 7 months late, but that's still a sign in the right direction. Another idea that I was thinking about was putting NHL on Game Pass or EA Play or however that works now on launch or quicker into the year. Granted, that's something they probably wouldn't do, but I think that would help the game a ton. Call of Duty Black Ops 6 will be doing this off launch, and I think that game's player base will break absolute records this year. In reality, though, we might not see a lot of what I just mentioned in next year's game and would have to hope for it to be optimized in NHL 26, just because of the way they develop games on a yearly basis, considering NHL 25 is probably mostly done at this point. Speaking of future games, one thing I quickly want to note is that 2K has officially secured the license from FIFA to create the next FIFA game, which will launch this year and move on into the World Cup in 2026. We gotta think, how long could NHL maybe follow suit? The last 2K NHL game on consoles was in 2010 when 2K11 was released, so they could very easily switch over the licensing in a couple years so EA can finally have some competition when it comes to hockey. Because at the end of the day, nobody gives a about 2K or EA. We all just want to play hockey or some type of hockey video game with our favorite players. Now, of course, there was always light at the end of the tunnel. For example, Eki even stated today that he is already thinking about focusing on content for NHL full-time opposed to splitting it with competitive, which I definitely think more people in the space should be doing that if we do want to grow the game. Even though the news that we got today is somewhat negative, I think it is the perfect time for us as a community to all try and help grow the game by growing our socials. Whether that's TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Twitch, freaking OnlyFans, whatever other brain rot is out there. Just start posting more of your clips and try and get more NHL clips to go viral. Try and collab and play with a variety of people. I think hockey and the NHL in general is starting to peak as a top 3 sport in North America, as we just saw from the recent Stanley Cup Finals. And I think now bleeding into NHL 25 is the perfect time to try and get it on the same level, or at least in the conversation, as some of the other main sports games. I think if the main content scene can grow and more casuals can get involved, then the esports scene could slowly gain more interest off of that and have more potential to grow as well. Anyways, I still have a lot to say, but I think at this point we really just have to wait until the reveal of NHL 25 comes around. But definitely let me know your thoughts below and what sort of changes you would want to see in the future now that the competitive scene for 1v1 is basically dead as of now. I also didn't want to edit this video a lot just because I wanted to get it out as soon as possible after I heard the news. Regardless, I hope you got something out of this, and all we can really do now is just hope that the gameplay has improved from last year, right? Right?